Hello, you wonderful people, and welcome to another episode of Not Too Comic Book. This being a show where I talk about TV shows that are adaptations of comic books. For today's episode, I'm going to talk about the latest episode of Snowpiercer. A lot of interesting things went down in this episode, so let's break it down. First and foremost, we're literally dealing with the aftermath of the last episode where LJ got arrested, and now it's a situation of because of all of this, she's going to have to stand trial. Now, that's a complicated thing because obviously for Audrey, she knows, and her and everyone on Third knows how important this whole thing is, and they know who she is, her being from First. Like, the fact of the matter is they'll never get justice for some of their own being killed. So obviously she kind of like maneuvers a situation to kind of send a message. And so Melanie and her meet. And once again, it comes up that conversation of, once again, was Wilford a person, a real dude? Or was that someone Melanie had pretend to be Mr. Wilford? I'm assuming there really was a Mr. Wilford, but she has to pretend like he's still alive. Once again, Roach said he met him, but to be fair, that could have been like Javi or Bennett, who are, the engineers. It could have either been one of them. You never know with that situation. I assume specifically because he has such a specific voice and no one said anything. He had to have been a real person that's died. She just kept the myth alive this entire time. Whatever the case may be, whether he was a real person before or whether he's always been made up, Melanie is Mr. Wilford at the end of the day regardless, So, but for, Audrey, it's like, the fact is she had talked about the fact is, I thought it was such an interesting thing that she says in the intro about like she thought getting on Wilford's train was survival and she confused that with freedom, so now it's like we're on this train and we've got Wilford's boot on our throats, so it's just not the surviving is one thing, freedom is a whole other thing entirely. So it is a situation of she wants the rules to the tribunal to be rewritten because usually it's like a people from First and Second, and it's like that's literally not going to. I'm actually surprised. I was actually expecting the storyline to go this route, to actually include the tail, just because technically they're the fourth group, but I mean, I guess it also shows you in the hierarchy how much their opinion matters, because like no, you're in the back, you're the tails, you have no, like, you are the extreme stowaway, so it's like you get no vote in this situation. You just should be happy we let you live on the train anyway, so. But I was almost expecting like, are they gonna get someone from the tail? But it's like, no, Third is as low as they'll go. But it's like the whole point is to show like, because Melanie's in a tough spot because she knows like if she doesn't include the third's going to be pissed. She includes the third, First and Second are going to have a cow, especially Lila and her family. They're definitely going to be pissed off about this. So it's a thing of you have to weigh the options and the consequences at the end of the day. So she does ultimately decide to let the Third into as part of the tribunal. They randomly pick 3 names from each class, and each of those representatives is going to be a part of the tribunal. Obviously, Lila and her husband are prepping LJ. And what's so interesting is like, she's like, can I? And it's like, not right now, honey. And the dad's like, no, it's good. He pops out his eye and she's messing with it and putting it in her mouth and everything. He's kind of laughing and playing. Like, Lila knows her daughter did it. But I think more so than anything, it's like, well, part of me initially was like, she knows she did it, but like, she doesn't want LJ to go down for this because it looks bad on her family. But now in retrospect, I'm like, no, it's because you also care about your daughter. I mean, you're like any parent. No parent would, want their child to suffer whether they did it or not. I know she knows her kid did it. She just doesn't want to admit it. Because she even talks to Melanie about it later on of like, oh, how her husband lost his eye. In a rage, LJ stabbed him in the eye with the fork and he lost his eye. But even with it just like the blood spilling out his eye, he still held on tight to her till she calmed down, protecting her. And it's like, this is my bloodline you're messing with. And the fact of the matter is there will be consequences. So even that puts Melanie, because even Melanie, she's with Bennett, which obviously they have their thing. Because even he talked about like, oh, when's the last time we did it? Last time we did that was kind of like when the bees died. And for him, it's like, that kind of speaks volumes that the fact is the last time we did that was when the bees died. Meaning like, it only happens when shit really, really hits the fan, Because now it's a situation of she's like, oh, she's like, I wish you could just open a window and just smell real air. Because obviously this is all just like, probably, reprocessed air and stuff like that. But it's just like, she wouldn't smell real air. He misses the rain, and for her, she misses so much. It's just like, it's a heavy ass weight, because it's not just like, oh, this isn't just on Wilfred. It is on some mythical Wilfred, but it's all on her. She has to be the one to make these decisions, So it's a heavy ass burden that, she kind of has to carry. No one else realizes she has to carry it. But it's even this thing of like, and it's also, and I think this kind of speaks volumes, like when first, second, and third met, they were like, oh, hey, hi, it's nice to meet you. I'm a first, you don't hold it against me. So it's like, it shows you that there can be some diplomacy amongst the groups. Granted, once again, we're not including the tail, because they're seen as kind of like, essentially they're the equivalent of Aladdin, street rats, The only reason why that's kind of popping on my mind because like I love the Wolf and Bear song called Street Rat. Regardless, tangents and all that. But the fact of the matter is, she's talking to Ruth, and it's like, oh, like Melanie's like, yeah, I'm just doing this because of the will of the people, and then Ruth was like, we don't have will, we have order. So it's the thing of like, well, what do you want? Do you want the people to, oh yeah, like people kind of have free will? And comes with free will comes chaos, the opportunity for shit to go wrong. Or do you want order? So it's like everything was set in motion. Like there are rules that, Melanie's kind of bending the rules. To be fair, she's honestly the one in position who can bend said rules. So, but, once again, it's a situation of weighing the options because she knows LJ is guilty of sin. So she wants there to be, she knows she wants there to be, justice, wants to show the train that there is such thing as justice. So everyone gives their testimonies. I didn't realize this until they brought it up in trial. Maybe I didn't remember them bringing it up in the episode. They found the dicks in her room in a box, and it's like, yeah, I was like, wow. So things super didn't look good for LJ. Everyone's giving their testimony and everything. Bess is there for Jinju. What's also interesting though is that Bess is moved up. She's temporary. She's kind of got like she's on a probational period, allowed access to the second. It's like as long as you don't screw up, it'll be good. So her and Jinju, it's like, oh, that's good. But the moment that all being said and done, you're like, something's gonna happen to make her screw it up, isn't it? And we'll get to that soon enough. At the same time, all this is happening. Obviously, Josie is trying to meet up with Astra to try and find, Leighton, and it's a situation of like, okay, so what are we gonna, she's going to look for him because she talks to Astra, and it's like, well, you got to talk to Terrence because he has some idea, So she goes and meets with Terrence, and it's like, oh, so where's Leighton? He's in the tail. He's not in the tail. Wait, what? Yeah, we believe he's in a drawer, and they're like, even he's like, he literally was summoned up to solve a case on a train, and he did, and they put him in a drawer. Why? So it's either he's in a drawer or he's straight up dead. But it's like, no, you've met him before. He's not the type that just died. So it's like they had their own reasons for going into the drawer, and I was like, they were contemplating it before she showed up, but they're like, hey, this could present an opportunity. But I was like, why would you want to go into the drawers? And it's like, now we see why. The same drug they're used to put people, it's used to make that drug that's kind of circulated the train. The fact of the matter is they're getting more of that, they're getting large chunks of it. And they were telling her, it's like, oh, just don't get caught. So she's there looking for Leighton, but the fact is she finds other people she knows. So it's like, wait, these are probably people she thought like, oh, they got further in the train or something. Maybe they were in first, second, or third, but it's like, wait, they're in the drawers. Why are they in the drawers? Wait, this doesn't make any sense. Like, that's what it seemed like when because there was like a kid she met. There was a woman she met named Mia, like that she was talking about. Then obviously she found Andre, and she's trying to unhook him from the machine. And Oz and Bess are walking by, and they noticed the door. I was like, oh. I was hoping that maybe she hid in one of the other drawers, and that maybe left Leighton's open, and they'd be like, wait, what the hell? What? But she was in there with Leighton. They found her. Oz was going to like beat her, like he was choking her at one point. Bess luckily knocks him out, because even she was like, wait, why is Leighton here? Like, I thought he was back in the tail. Once again, it makes like, and I brought this up last episode, there's only going to be a handful of people that are going to care that he, like, whoa, what happened to Andre? Well, it seems like everyone believed that Leighton ended up, back in the tail, so that's how they covered that. So but even the moment she found it out, like, why is he in a drawer? Like, so Bess ends up helping them out. And obviously they make their way to the night car where she leaves Leighton with Zara, and it's like because obviously you can tell the look on Josie's face when it's like, the one person I'm going to run into is you, because in a lot of people's eyes, Josie's included, it's like, not only did you leave on, you didn't just leave Leighton, you left the entire tail behind. Like, you were able to just kind of live it up here while we still struggled. You gave up on the fight, obviously we need it, but it's like, we're trusting you to keep Andre safe, and it's just like and so so she stays with him. What's interesting too is like the entire time he's in this state, because even Jinju was asking like, what kind of state are they in? Is it kind of like a locked in syndrome? Like, because Nikki even said it herself. She's like, it's not like you're dreaming. It's almost like being it's almost probably like a daydream while also kind of being it's probably a thing of you're asleep but your consciousness is awake the entire time. I think that's probably like the best way to describe it. But what was interesting is the memory that they had brought the story up earlier in the season about the cannibals back in the tail, and it was Andre confronting the cannibals, and like once again the whole thing he said of like everyone gets a piece so that no one's completely innocent, and it's like no more, and everyone's like no more cannibalism, like this is the last we'll ever do of this, we'll ever speak of this. This will be kind of their sin that they have to carry. So we do see at the end though that Andre does wake up almost just being like, what? But like, to be fair, luckily he hasn't been under long enough, because obviously for Melanie, it's the whole thing of like, well, we need to keep this hush hush, that because the drawers are only like, we need to find a way to make it so that because eventually like these drawers might potentially get filled. Eventually we're going to have to wake these people up, so we need to make sure that they came out okay. Obviously Nikki didn't come out okay, but it's like they never really got a chance to really fully study her, obviously Eric killed her, so so we don't know what the long-lasting effects might be on Leighton. To be fair, he wasn't under nearly as long as Nikki. Nikki was under for 2 years. So who knows? Like, Leighton's probably been under for maybe a couple days at most. So it might not be that bad. We'll see what kind of the after effects of that are going to be. Now, getting back to the trial and everything, it is a complicated thing when she gets on the stand. She's being like, oh, Eric, this fear, blah, 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 putting on like this fake act and everything. Because literally leading up to the trial, she didn't seem like she cared. She was playing a video game. Once again, I'm showing you a little bit of a sociopath like that she is. Like, she has no empathy. Like, she fakes it like she cares, And once again, it's like, do her family just really not see it? But like I said, I think they do. In particular, I think her mom sees it. I think her dad doesn't see it. But regardless, the fact of the matter is, she says like, yeah, Sean, he was basically out Sean as a snitch. And everyone in the third's like, wait, what? I love that literally throughout the entire trial, it's kind of like your trial, a typical trial where it's like shit from the case comes up and everyone's like, oh my God, gasp. But nevertheless, the moment she mentions like, yeah, Sean told me, some stuff, and the moment that happened, Melanie perked up like, wait, what? And it's like, what the hell did Sean tell her? But she's like, the fact of the matter is, if Mr. Wilford's listening, just like, I will do whatever I can to, you show me forgiveness, you show me mercy, I'll do what I can to help this train. And so Jinju and Melanie talk. It's like, what was that all about? It's like, does she know about the drawers being kind of what they are? So it's like, so what do we do? I mean, what else did Sean tell her? So it comes down to a thing of like, well, what do you do? When the time comes, it's like, okay, I figure Melanie had some behind the scenes play, but when the time comes, that she gets found guilty and everyone's celebrating, I was like, oh. But then there was a look on Melanie's face like, oh, I guess that wasn't supposed to happen. And it's like, because Bennett was still holding on to like the capsule, it was supposed to be a note for them to do something to carry, because Javi read it first, but he didn't like it, and he's like, do you have anywhere else to go? He was like, no, because you have anything else to do? And he's like, no, because I'm not the one sleeping with her. So I think for him, it's like he was saying this is her fault. I guess it's because I guess the reason why Javi's saying it's her fault, because it's like she set this all in motion by either continuing this myth that about Mr. Wilford, or it's because because she got the wrong person all those years ago, with those 2 years ago, because of Nikki, because you didn't get the right person back then, like now we find ourselves in this situation. It might just be a combination of everything, because they didn't bring it up during the episode, but when you look at the train like powering through that area they're in, you see like the main, like the point of the train, the armor of it is like starting to peel off. Like, I don't know if that's something they haven't noticed yet. I mean, it's like, how do you fix that? You would literally have to get out of the train to fix that in that freezing weather, which you will instantly freeze to death in that wet, unless you have the proper suiting and stuff like that. But still, that would also involve stopping the train. Not unless you do it mid-train. I don't think that's the best option. But I mean, is this a thing? Do you even stop? I mean, I'm sure it hasn't stopped in like the 6-7 years it's been a rotation, but revolutions has been taken. But regardless, so the letter Melanie sent, it's kind of like they have no choice. Bennett sends, and it's like, Mr. Wilford has decided that her sentence shall be stayed, and basically she'll be recused to her parents. And everyone, they're celebrating. Everyone in the third is in upheaval. Everyone's bouncing and trying to get out of there as fast as they can. You know what? Because I was just trying to, one of the people from first and second, she was the wife of one of those dudes. Like, I was like, why do I recognize that actress? That's Addie's mom from Dare Me. I kept wondering, I was like, why do I recognize this actress? I know her from something fairly recently. It's Dare Me. So I know, really good show if you haven't seen it. Tangents and all that. Which is interesting too, because there were people behind, because like Home Dude that was there, which I know that actor because obviously he was in, I think he was in Arrow, because obviously he pops up during the Crisis on Infinite Earths crossover as Spectre, but it's like, I think it was from Arrow, like maybe it's been just so long I don't remember, but I think that's where he's from. Nevertheless, he was also like Continuum is one of the shows I kind of best know him from too. I don't remember his character's name. Regardless, tangents and all that. The fact of the matter is that dude, it turns out he was a snitch for Melanie, or Mr. Wilford. So it's like she probably has snitches. He's actually has snitches in every level of the train. So probably has some in, probably none in first, but he might be from first. So first, second, and third, maybe. Makes you wonder, does she have any in the tail? I mean, why would you have any in the tail? I mean, I guess it could prove useful. Maybe that's something. Maybe it's not. But he's the one that I wasn't expecting that, because obviously they're trying to get the commander on their side, and it's like, oh, what about Melanie? And LJ's dad is like, she'd be the first to go. So obviously they'd be gunning for her, not realizing who she is. So nevertheless, Melanie does confront LJ about the whole situation, and it's like, I'm taking a risk. She's like, oh, the third will give her. She's like, no, I'm taking a risk by letting you walk free. Even asking, like, what did Sean tell you? Because she brings up the drawers, so at the very least she knows about the drawers. I mean, because obviously Sean was being tortured, so he would say anything that, to stop, get everything to stop. But then she's like, what else did he tell you? And it's like, whatever was said between me and Sean is between him and me and the drawers, I think is what she had said. So it's like, who knows what else she said. She's like, just let, Mr. Wilford looked out for me, so I'll look out for him. So obviously she doesn't know about Melanie. Maybe. Who knows what, once again, she's a sociopath, so obviously she's back in her parents' hands and stuff like that. You could just tell Melanie's just like, shit. Once again, kind of a no-win-win situation. You still should have taken her down, but the fact of the matter is, if you took her down, you'd have to deal with the entire family, because Lila would have come for your throat, just would have made a whole stink about the whole thing. So it's just like, what is worse? Because by letting people find out about the drawers, that's going to throw this was honestly, in her mind, this was like the lesser of the evils, because if anything about the drawers got out, it's like, wait, what? That's not a foolproof thing. It's an experiment. People who go in there might be messed up, because some people were, some of the tales in the first episode were like, all right, we'll go under and you'll save us. But it's like, now you see what ends up happening. Like, some of that damage might be irreversible, or at the very least, you will definitely walk into that situation messed up. So kind of a no-win situation. So kind of how you probably thought the trial would go, but also just, I thought that was kind of an interesting turn. I'm curious to see what ends up happening with LJ. Like, she's probably not going to kill anyone else just because she got her thrills, but at the same time, I'm like, someone who's like her, who seems like she gets off on that, like, you're eventually going to get more of a thrill from it. I mean, granted, there was one 2 years ago, so it's like, hey, maybe you're kind of going to be like a serial killer who has their MO of like, oh, I strike every 2 years, but it's like, I mean, who's to say the next target won't be her family? I was almost halfway expecting Melody to do something. I don't know, kill her secretly, but I'm like, there ain't no way you can do that secretly, you know? But I'm like, I don't know, man. I mean, because you also can't trust her because she thinks this is all a game. So, like, the fact of the matter is LJ could easily spill the beans, but she's probably not going to just because it's like, I got away with everything. Once again, this is brought about the wrath of the third, because you can look at the way because Audrey literally got on the stand and poured her heart out to be like, first and second, you need to look at the third differently. None of you know our names, but the fact of the matter is we know all of you because we make everything that you enjoy, every aspect of your lives, we put in the work to do that. So kind of show us some respect. Don't treat us like insects, you know? But it's like, now it's just like this is what Audrey feared. Like, it's like, oh, we wouldn't get justice if they didn't. So I'm curious to see how the third is going to strike back. Also got the whole aspect of, all right, Bess went back to check on Oz. Oh, he's gone. It's like, well, shit. That kind of puts a little, nail in the coffin to your whole stay. And second, you were supposed to not get in trouble. He's going to use this against you. So what do? Do you try to kill him? Do you pay him off? Like, what's going to happen in that regard? It's definitely going to be interesting to see where all this ultimately ends up taking us going forward into the next episode. But really, that's all I want to talk about. Till the next time we meet, be happy, be safe, live life to the fullest, and enjoy it. Good day and goodbye.